My past may be checkered, but I'm not going to court because Kenya forgot her paperwork at home. Yes! Hey everybody, welcome to my channel. I am Raphael and I'm here to review part 1 of the reunion to the Real Housewives fighting for their peach for season 16 of Atlanta. So we start the reunion off with everyone arriving in New York City, and this is how I knew that production was not playing around with us and we were not about to get a part 3, 4, or 5, because typically we see footage of everyone getting ready in the back, they're getting glammed up, having conversations. Andy, the host, he goes around to check in on everybody to see what's going on, where they're at mentally. But we didn't get any of that this time around. Instead, he's already on stage, he's meditating, he's over it, and I bet you production probably told them, hurry up and let's head over to the stage already so we could film this and reboot this entire show for season 16, because I'm pretty sure for most of you, this is everybody's last reunion, so enjoy it. We did get a glimpse of Marlo in the glam chair, and she had this shady inspirational wall, and it said, I am light and love, you got this. And if you really pay attention to it, it says, Kenya more, Kenya less. And then at the very bottom it says, Kandi is old news. And I mean, if this is her way of getting ready and getting motivated, then so be it, right? So then we head out to the reunion stage already. And let's talk about the theme of the stage. I wasn't a big fan of it. I believe it has to do with that activity that they did in Portugal, the healing activity with a bunch of pillows all over the floors. And honestly, it looks like my room when I'm looking for an outfit last minute and I can't decide and I'm just throwing shit all over the place. So everyone starts coming out and we're gonna talk about their looks and the seating placements, beginning with Kandi, who's sitting on the left side of the couch at the very end. I probably would have switched her and Kenya around and have her sit in the middle instead, simply because I feel like Kandi gave us just a little bit more this season than Kenya, just a little bit though. But I don't really think that it matters to Kandi. If anything, I feel like she's already thinking of a concept to try to make money out of this whole situation and come up with a restaurant and probably name it the corner of the couch. I can just see it already. As for her look, I did like the dress, especially the way the chains of diamonds hang off the silhouette of her body. I thought it was a good choice. As for her hair, you know, her bob, I wasn't too much of a fan of it. I mean, it was very sharp, it was very crisp, but I don't know, I wasn't a fan of it. I feel like maybe she could have done like an updo or something, but then we head over to Kenya Monroe. I mean, more, sorry. Kenya, when I first saw her look, I didn't really know how to feel about it. I thought she looked a hot mess, to be honest. But, you know, over time, my opinion, you know, stayed the same. But then the episode aired and I kept going back and forth with, I kind of like it. I kind of see what you're going for, but I still don't like it. I don't know. I think I'm somewhere in the middle. Kenya, she looks like she's 2 seconds away from singing to Apollo, happy birthday to you. So then we head over to Drew. She's the first chair on the left side. And I mean, rightfully so, I guess, because the last couple of episodes this season, it had a lot to do with her and her marriage, so understandable. Her look, I thought she looked great. From her shoes, the dress, the top, the hair, the earrings, everything about it, no complaints. Then we head over to Sheree. I have a list of complaints. Because first of all, Sheree's the first chair on the right side. Why? I mean, I guess, who else are they gonna give it to, right? I mean, Sanya? No, that's not happening. As for her look, you know, Sheree, you know, I don't know how to feel about this, because Sheree, you're supposed to be this fashion empire, this fashion mogul. You know, she by Sheree. So, you know, I expected something better, but you came with this basic blue dress, and the corset section of the dress looked nice. I bet it was sucking in all the lies that she was about to tell at this reunion, like, must lie about me and Martell one more time. But again, the dress is just very basic looking, so Sheree, no. But I do like the ponytail though, I'll give you that. Then we get to Marlo, and every time they put the camera on her, it had me like, it just had me feeling cozy and warm and comfortable, because this is how I look every single Friday night, in bed with a big ass blanket, scrolling through TikTok. All she needed was the snacks and that was it. But her look, she looks so amazing. Only she could pull something off like this, to be honest. This is comfy couture. And the best part is that we don't know what she has underneath that big ass blanket. She could just be sitting there calmly minding her business. Next thing you know, Kenya comes after her. All of a sudden, Marlo, she pulls up her blanket. She pulls out Roy, Kenya's boyfriend, and she's like, look, I got him underneath me. So, it's very unpredictable, but I love the look. Then we head over to Sanya. Sanya, even though this dress is very, very simple and basic, I guess, I love it. I think she looks so, so beautiful. She looks so angelic the entire reunion. I mean, she didn't say anything, but she didn't have to say anything because she just looks so, so pretty. So Sanya, I don't know. I feel like, could she get the best dress at this reunion? I don't know. I think it's up between either her, Marlo, or Drew. I think I'm going to give it to Marlo, though, and then Sanya's going to come in second place. As for my reunion look, I'm keeping the tradition of dressing up for the reunions. I did it for Salt Lake City last season, or 2 seasons ago, and I did it for Potomac last season. So this time around, does anybody know where I got my inspiration look from? It's inspired by Kenya's look at this reunion. Although now that I'm looking at it, I don't know, it looks like it's inspired by Courtney because she looks like she was wearing something similar. But hold on, let me add the dramatic effects. Yes. Now I'm gone with the wind, fabulous. I'm gone with the wind, fabulous. Now twirl, twirl, twirl. It's not the diamonds. Ooh, I'm that boy. I'm that boy. It's just that I'm that boy. But yes, this is my reunion look for part 1. Andy starts it off with Sheree by telling her that she looks fresh and new, hinting at her surgery that she got done to her face. And here goes Sheree. Andy, I couldn't really breathe through my nose, so when I went in to go get surgery, I told the doctors, you know what, while I'm here, just fix a couple of tweaks on my nose. And I'm like, okay, Sheree. So then he moves it over to Kandi. Thank you so much for showing up to the reunion. I'm so glad that we could fit into your schedule. Ooh. Kandi, that's basically a warning for you for next season to get your shit together or else say goodbye to that peach. Kandi, she didn't really say much. All she did was, that awkward laugh that she does. So then he moves it over to Marlo. Marlo, you're also looking different. Why? And Marlo, she says, shots. I'm taking the shots, the shots. I want to fit into sample size clothing. And at first I'm like, shots, shots, shots. And then it clicked to me that Marlo is also taking Ozempics, or whatever the shit is called, that all the housewives are taking to make them skinnier. But at least she's honest about it, I guess, because, other housewives, they take it when they're off season and then they come back to their new season and they look completely different and just say, oh no, I was just working out, when that's not the case. But that's her reasoning. Then we move over to Sanya. Sanya, she's pregnant. We see her stomach. Again, she looks beautiful. She's due on Christmas, I believe. And I know that her sister was probably watching this episode like, okay, Christmas, I'm going to turn my phone off because I know she's probably going to ask me on the 26th to babysit. We also find out that Drew is still going along with this whole divorce from Ralph, but they're still living in the same house together. And that's just very awkward to me. I don't know how they're making that work. Especially, if one night it's raining outside, you're at home, you're watching a movie, you're feeling a little frisky, a little lonely, a little desperate. You start thinking back on your marriage like, you know what? It wasn't all that bad. Yeah, he cheated on me like 20 times, but, who doesn't cheat nowadays in 2023? You know what? Babe, come downstairs and cuddle. Next thing you know, the whole divorce is called off and it's just a never-ending cycle. So absolutely not. Well, somebody's going to have to move out. But then, then we head over back to Sheree. He plays this whole montage of Sheree, and it was basically Sheree's most embarrassing moments this entire season. From Martell to Bob and his daughter that she didn't know about, to She by Sheree, to this, to Martell, to Bob. Did I say Martell? That whole situation. And then, Sheree, of course, I predicted it in my last review that she was going to have a ton of excuses on why her and Martell are not together. She tells Andy, well, you know what? I just feel like, me and Martell, we're just different people. And, I was just very tired of being caught up in his mess. And I couldn't really do that anymore. So, you know what? I think it's just best that, I find my own strength in my own self. And I'm like, AKA the season is over and you don't need him for a storyline anymore. So then Kenya, she jumped in it and she was just like, oh yeah, by the way, Martell, he tried to, use some revenge corn. And I've heard of that too, that supposedly he's doing that on Love and Marriage Huntsville. I don't watch the show, so I don't know. But Andy, he was quick to ignore it, like, oh really? Anyway, yeah, that sounds like a Carlos King problem. We're not promoting that show over here. He moved on from the subject so quickly and just left Kenya in the dust. Sheree and Kenya start bumping heads over the DM that Martell sent to Kenya, and her telling Sheree this information after she had made it official with Martell, and how Kenya was doing interviews, poking fun at her relationship and saying that it was fake. And if I was Sheree, I would have just said one simple thing to shut this whole conversation down. Walter, next, like you did the same thing once upon a time not too long ago, so why can't I take a page out of your book and have my own fake boyfriend myself? So speaking of, we head back over to Kenya. Are you and Mark officially divorced? And honestly, just between me and you, I'm sick of hearing about this. I don't care about this divorce conversation. I don't care about Kenya bringing it up every other episode. Like, oh yeah, it's still not official. It's still not official. It's still not official. Like, okay, when it becomes official, then bring up the conversation. Until then, we don't care about it anymore. We all know that Mark, he's a jerk. He's just, doing this for who knows what. I don't get what his end game is in this whole situation. So just next conversation. But she does let us know that Mark is taking her to court for putting their daughter in a dangerous environment. The episode where Marlo was banging on her door while Brooklyn was also in the same room, and Kenya had told her that, which Marlo was completely wrong for that. And Marlo, she spoke up and she said, "Oh, well, I'm sorry. I apologize for that. I said I was sorry. I was apologizing for Brooklyn. I should have never done that." Kenya, she was just like, wait, apologizing to who? No, I don't accept that. You never apologize. You're apologizing now? Absolutely not. Marlo just said, well, if you don't accept it, you don't have to accept it. Let's move on. And this is something I don't like about Marlo. She did the same exact thing at last season's reunion as an official housewife. She goes into these reunions with this nonchalant attitude like, oh, well, yeah, I'm sorry. Oh, you don't accept it? Okay, well, I don't care. Let's just talk about something else. I'm just going to be over here and I'm not really going to say much. When the entire season, she's been talking shit nonstop in the confessionals or in person, or she wants to drag somebody in person. Yet when it's time to actually, do something at the reunion, she's just like, oh, no, I really don't want to fight. I'm just over here. I'm looking pretty. That's it. I have a halo around my head. I'm Mother Teresa. That's it. Like, no, Marlo, keep the same energy. Like, we don't forget everything that you've done instead the entire season. Just because now you want to play goody two shoes at the reunion. No, it doesn't work like that. And then Kenya, whew, the secondhand embarrassment that I got, because all of a sudden she starts, digging underneath her ass. Like, hold on, Andy, give me 1 second. Give me 1 second. Oh, fuck, I got a wedgie. Hold on. Oh, this dress is tight. Where is it? Oh, here we go. Here we go. I think it's still good. Andy, just disregard the smell, okay? It's been a while. I was sweaty. Okay, but actually, I'm actually giving Marlo a subpoena. And I'm like, not a subpoena. It's like, this is what we're doing at the reunion. I'm like, wow, we're serving papers. So she gives the papers to Andy. I'm thinking, uh-oh, this is gonna be iconic. Who knows what's gonna happen? Andy, he's opening up the envelope like, uh-oh. Let's see. Kenya? Kenya, this whole thing is blank. Like, so embarrassing. She handed Andy a blank envelope and just so embarrassed. Like, Kenya, you are the queen of props at the reunion. And you mean to tell me that you didn't check your paperwork at least once to make sure that everything was okay for this moment that you were trying to have? Like, just so disappointing. Yeah, we need a reboot for next season. I'm sick of this. Like, Kenya, come on now. Like, I expected so much better. And if I was her, I would have been just so pissed the remainder of the reunion. I would have just sat there, my mood completely ruined. I probably would have quit. Like, you know what, Andy? Keep that. You know what? That's my resignation letter. I'm leaving. Fuck it. That's how embarrassing it was. But she tries to tell Andy, no, Andy, see, the thing is, see, I was at home, I was cooking dinner, and I was making pancakes, and I rushed out the house. I left the actual subpoenas at home, so I'm sorry. No, Marlo, you are going to jail. Wait. Marlo, she's just making fun of her like, oh, thank God, I don't have to show up. Even Kandi was laughing. Kandi, she was just looking at her like, blank subpoenas, I may be small. So they start talking about Sheree's birthday fiasco and who should or shouldn't pay for it. Andy tells her, you have a very interesting relationship when it comes to paying bills. Everybody on stage laughs, right? But for some reason, Sheree only singled out Kandi, who was laughing like, Jesus. And Sheree did not like that. She tells Andy, well, I can pay for my birthday dinner. That's no problem. At least I'm not getting sued by somebody else for stealing their restaurant idea. hello, Johnny. I'm like, who the hell is Johnny? But Johnny, he's from 5 years ago. He alleges that Kandi stole his old lady gang restaurant idea. And Kandi, she did not stay quiet to it. She tells Sheree,
oh, first of all, old lady gang is because of my aunt, so I'm not really sure what you're implying. I didn't steal anybody's idea.
And then Sheree, she probably has so many different things going on in her mind at this very moment, from figuring out how she's gonna pay her chateau mortgage, her She by Sheree website never working, her relationship with Martell is officially over, so now she has no storyline. And on top of that, I'm pretty sure she knows about the reboot speculations. So I'm pretty sure that Sheree was scared, like, okay, I need to really bring it, I really need to bring it to Kandi, or else my peach is gonna be snatched away from me from season 16, and I need my Bravo check. Because Sheree, I mean, the voice went up, and then she started going at it with Kandi, like, oh, well, you know what, honey? Well, you know what, honey? Hold on, give me one second, because I got the paper right here. And that's how I knew that she was full of shit. Because the second the voice starts getting a little squeaky, I'm like, wait a minute, Sheree, I'm not really sure what you're trying to do here. And Kandi didn't make it any better because we all know that her voice starts trembling or getting shaky the second that she gets emotional or pissed off. And she's trying to explain to Sheree, like,
well, you know what? I mean, the website, your face, the shots to your face, She by Sheree. And I'm like, what? Like,
I thought she was beatboxing for a second, like, I'm like, Kandi, absolutely not. I mean, I get it, you know, when I'm emotional as well, I start stumbling on my words as well, but oh, this was tough because Sheree, she also starts doing the same thing to Kandi. She's like, oh, well, wait, you know what, honey? My She by Sheree, old lady gang, wash those greasy ass floors. And I'm like, what? Like, this whole argument between both of them was hilarious, especially when she called out Kandi and said, you need to wash those greasy ass floors at your restaurant. I'm like, wow, Sheree, you know, like, she really was activated. Kandi, she was thrown off a little bit. She tells Andy,
what did she say about my greasy floors?
Like, Kandi, she didn't want to admit that, you know, because that's been the thing, that her restaurants are nasty, they're gross, the food is gross and all this and all that. Allegedly, I'm not sure. I still want to go regardless, but Sheree starts bringing out more props, and this time it's kind of like a newspaper article that she made personally for this, titled She News, which I thought it was cute. And in each article of the newspaper, it's a bad review that somebody left on Kandi's restaurant, including the health inspection. Oh, that is terrible, Sheree. I'm impressed. And Kandi is getting so pissed off at this. But my thing is, Sheree, where was this energy for your She by Sheree line 15 years ago? The same amount of effort that you did to make this whole little, you know, newspaper article now, you should have did it for your website, for your clothing line. And maybe it would have been somewhere now. But all right, so her and Kandi, they started going back and forth with each other. Kandi, she continues stumbling on her words, as well as Sheree. She's telling Sheree,
well, you know what? You need to be worried about your shots to the face, the shots.
So Sheree, she was just like, well, you know what, honey? You know what? My face is still nice. My face is still nice, honey. And the voice just continues going higher and higher and higher. And I'm like, uh-oh, it's only a matter of time before she just, you know, just falls apart. So next thing you know, Sheree, you know, she's feeling extra bold. Again, her career is on the line, right? She gets up and she starts walking over to Kandi, and I'm like, Sheree, sit down. What are you doing? What's going on? What's happening? Even Andy, he got up and he was just like, wait a minute. We don't need Portia versus Kenya part 2 here. What's going on? And Sheree was really feeling herself because she starts telling Kandi, you can never have this. You can never have this. Look at my face. Look at my face versus yours. Big face, little face. Big face, little face. Kandi keeps making fun of Sheree and her swollen face in that one confessional, but that didn't stop Sheree from continuing on by saying, well, so what? So what? I still look good now. You can never, honey. You can never. And she's just twirling around, and I'm like, wow, Sheree, you're really feeling bold. What did Nene say that one episode? I know that dress doesn't have you feeling that shit. Let me go get my wine. Like, Sheree was out of control, but I was kind of here for it. Where was this energy from any of you this whole entire season? Because maybe those reboot rumors wouldn't be a thing now. Like, but, you know, Sheree, she sits back down, that's that. But then she pops back up to give Drew a She by Sheree bag. She gives it to Kandi instead. She tells Kandi, oh no, I want you to open it. I'm looking at Kandi like, Kandi, don't open that. Latasha Scott might be inside and she might pop out and attack you. But she opens it up and it's a little clapperboard, you know, from the whole end scene thing. And that was that. But Sheree, I'll give you a solid 7 or a solid 8 at this reunion so far. They start talking about Drew's comments that she made towards Kandi and Todd's movie, The Past, which by the way, I already reviewed on my channel, so if you haven't checked it out, go check it out. And how she feels that she only wants to stick to doing Lifetime movies or up and not something low budget like this because that's what her manager recommended. And I mean, I get all of that, Drew. I really do understand that. I get it and having standards. But I mean, at the same time, she makes it seem as if Hollywood is just so eager to call her right away, like, hey, we need Drew Sidora on set for our next A-list movie. Like, who's really checking for you, like, recently, Drew? I don't know, I'm just saying, I'm just curious. But, they squash all of that on top of Kenya's comments that she made towards her music video, being kind of like a bootleg version of Beyonce's Blow video. But she apologized for that, that's that. They also bring up this kiss between LaToya and Drew again. I don't want to talk about it no more. But Drew, she continues denying it. Kandi, she's like, well, no, it did happen. I saw it happen. Even Marlo saw it, right, Marlo? Marlo, now all of a sudden her opinion changes, and she's like, well, I think I only believe it like maybe 80%. I'm not really sure because she swore on her kids. Kandi, she's rolling her eyes at her like, oh, of course, now you want to change your mind. And like I said before, Kandi is the same one who said whatever happens in the dungeon stays in the dungeon, yet now you're trying to pull out all the skeletons in Drew's closet. For what? Like, okay, let's say you are right about this whole kiss between LaToya and Drew. So what? Are you going to get some type of trophy or whatever? Like, oh yeah, Kandi was right. Who cares? But her and Drew, they continue going back and forth with each other. And then Kandi disgustingly says to Drew, you know what? With the amount of lying that you're doing about this whole situation and how you continue denying and gaslighting, I feel like maybe you actually gaslight your own husband, Ralph, more than he gaslights you. And I'm looking at Kandi like, you can't be serious with that, right? Like, you really want to throw that in her face just because she doesn't want to admit that, oh, I kissed LaToya, just so you could feel vindicated, just so you could feel that, oh, look, I was correct the whole entire time. When in actuality, Kandi, nobody gives a fuck. Like, it's just crazy. And it's so clear that Ralph has been emotionally abusive to his wife this entire time that they've been on the show. Yet you want to justify that. And she even tries to explain her words on her Speak On It episode. It didn't make sense to me, so. And as for Drew, she is no angel either. She also does come off as a liar, but again, we can't deny the emotional abuse, and who knows what other type of abuse goes on that we don't see, between their relationship that Ralph, does to her. So then Andy, he tells Marlo, so Marlo, you get your face and your body done. I'm like, whoa, what a way to pivot this whole conversation. You get your body done and everything, but you also body shame Drew. Do you regret that since you have the money to, afford all of that? Marlo, she goes on to say, well, we all got our face and body done at some point. Everybody on this stage has. So, I mean, it is what it is. And her and Drew, they start going back and forth about, this whole kiss thing again. And Drew, she does this weird thing to Marlo. You've never been touched. You're touchless. You're touchless. I kiss. I French kiss. And I'm like, okay, I'm Raphael. Nice to meet you. Like, what are you getting at with that? And then Sanya. Oh, Sanya. Hey, Sanya. Oh, let's dedicate like 2 seconds to her. She tries to jump into the whole argument by saying, yeah, I remember that. I'm like, oh, Sanya, just sit there and look beautiful. They got this. So then Courtney and Moneta finally walk out. And let's start with Courtney's look first. I wasn't a fan of this whole entire look at all. I just kept looking at it like, Courtney, what were you thinking? Like, this is your first and probably last reunion. What were you thinking? The hair was flat too. It looked like she was going to her first day of middle school, and I was not a fan of it. As for Moneta actually looks really, really pretty. I love the look. The pants could have been a little bit more shortened because as she's standing up, they're just covering up her entire shoe, like even underneath the shoe, and it just looks like she's about to fall over. But I like the top, the hair. Overall, she looks good. So they sit down. Courtney, they ask her, so how exactly are you related to Ralph? How are both of you cousins? She goes on to say that her dad's sister's cousin, who has a dentist appointment on Tuesday but has brunch on Sunday with her math teacher from college, and she also has to go scuba diving on Wednesday, is married to Ralph's dad's cousin. Or something like that. All I heard was, I can fuck him and it's not gonna be weird. So then she sits down and she is heated looking at her. She's looking at her like, oh, you're so thirsty. You're so thirsty. And Courtney's just like, oh, well, I'm thirsty, but you're the one acknowledging me. So next thing you know, Drew, she takes out a prop from her ass. She takes out a little plum and she throws it at her, indicating like, oh, you want a peach so badly, but you'll never get one. So this is the closest you'll get one. So she throws it at her. It lands on Marlo's dress. Marlo, she retaliates by saying, wait, don't you ever throw anything at my dress. I need to return this dress to the archive tomorrow. So don't you ever throw anything at me again, okay? Don't throw nothing at me. And I'm looking at Sanya like, Sanya, you know, this was your moment. You should have reacted. You should have, you know, done something or whatever to get some type of camera time. You know, if I was Sanya, this would have been me. I'm just sitting down and then next thing you know, I see the plum coming my way. Look, don't you ever throw anything at me like that again. I'm pregnant over here, and then cause a whole scene, get up and then throw it in her face and then make this whole thing your storyline for next season. But no, she just sat there looking pretty like, like, okay. And next thing you know, Andy, he gets up and he grabs the plum and then he takes a bite out of it. I'm like, Andy, where are your standards? Oh, so gross, so nasty. Obviously, you know, that plum probably has some ass juice from Drew. She was probably sitting on it for like 5 hours waiting for Courtney to come out and you're just gonna take a bite into it? Like, so nasty and so rude. Andy also asked Marlo to give her advice on everybody's outfit at the reunion, which I feel like this should be a segment on every reunion moving forward. I would like to see them discuss their actual looks if they like it or not. And Marlo, she starts off with Moneta. Everything was going good until she got to Kenya and she tells Kenya, well, you know, I kind of like your dress. You know, your boobs look good. You know, the feathers, I could do without the feathers. The hair, I'm not really sure. But other than that, you look good. Kenya, she did not like that answer. She was just like, well, you're over there looking like Mrs. Roper from Three's Company or whatever. I had to Google what that meant or who that was. And I see the similarities because the lady on the show, she does wear something similar to Marlo, but again, the joke fell flat because I didn't understand it. And then Marlo, again, with this whole fumbling of the words, she was just like, well, you look like a bootleg Marilyn. You look like a fake ass Marilyn Monroe. I'm like, damn it, Marlo, like, you need to be quicker. Like, come on now. Like, your best friend, you're right next to you, Sheree, who usually does terrible at the reunions. She was actually doing pretty decent, better than you. Like, what's going on? Marlo gives us an update on Scott Lee, and they officially slept together, so yay. And then Kenya, she also gives us an update on Roy, the guy that she was dating. Andy asked her, so what happened to him? I mean, we barely saw him this entire season. We saw him one episode where he was promoting his food, but that was it. And then Kenya, I'm not sure what was going on with her this reunion because she was so unprepared. First, earlier with the whole white envelope situation, and now this sorry answer that she's about to give Andy by telling him, well, you know, Roy, he saw the trailer to the season and he didn't appreciate Marlo's comments about him. He was turned off, so he just didn't want to be filmed anymore. Andy's looking at her like, how is that possible? Because if he saw the trailer, that means we've wrapped filming in general, so he was never going to be filmed with in the first place. Kenya, I know she was sweating bullets. She was looking at Andy like, don't we have a commercial to cut to or something? Like, she didn't know what to say. She just kept coming up with excuse after excuse. No, it wasn't that trailer, Andy. It was the other trailer, you know, the exclusive trailer. She was just throwing anything at him and Andy was just not buying it. And I'm surprised Marlo stayed quiet because this was your moment to shine and say, you're lying. You want to, you know, always point your fingers at everybody else. Fake relationship this, fake relationship that. Yet look at you and Roy. He was never on the show to begin with to support you. Andy then brings up the moment where Courtney was talking about Kandi in front of Sanya and Sanya didn't defend her friend. She just went along with the jokes and laughed along. And you know Sanya was sitting on that couch like, finally, it's only been like, what, 6 hours, but I'm finally gonna get a segment. Kandi, let me tell you something. She starts telling Kandi that she felt betrayed, you know, last year where Kandi laughed at the whole hair flip situation, that they also cut out that reunion. I'm not really sure why they wanted to remind us again for a second time. And Kandi was just like, well, I mean, at least I told you and I texted you that I was laughing about it. Unlike you lied to my face and you said that you defended me. And Kandi actually had a point, Sanya. So, you know, rats. So much for your one segment. So we finally get to the showdown between the cousin fucker, Courtney, and Drew Sidora, because they started discussing Courtney's last confessional from last week, where she went on that whole rant about Drew wanting Ralph to adopt her child just because she wants to run off in her gay relationship, right? So Drew, she tells Courtney, don't you ever in your fucking life ever discuss my child or talk about my child ever again. Do you hear me? And Courtney pulled the Erica Jane because she said, or what? Or what? Or what? I'm like, Drew, that's your cue. Get up and lunge. I would not have been upset if she would have lunged at Courtney, because Courtney, what do you mean, or what? Like, you wouldn't want anybody talking bad about your child. I'm pretty sure you have a child, right? I'm pretty sure you wouldn't like that. So what do you mean, or what? Like, and she starts telling her, I mean, I'm not talking about your child, or what? Or what? I mean, what are you going to do? You're not going to do anything about it. Like, what do you mean? And Drew, she continues on with her monologue. Don't you ever discuss my child again. Don't you ever have my child come out of your mouth again, or there will be a problem. And I'm like, ooh, Drew. You know, Kandi, get her another role in a drama series quickly. I see the potential in her, but you know, she went on with that, and then that's how we basically finished the first part of the reunion, by her telling Courtney, don't mention my child ever again. And speaking of, I'm not really sure if anybody's looking at Twitter as of now, but Ralph is tweeting Drew, and this is what he says. It's time to speak the truth, so let's be real. You expect me to pay child support when he has a father that wants to play an active role in his life, but you won't let him. Your adoption request was only a money grab and control. What? Since the age of 3, I stepped up to fill the gap as a man and unconditionally provided from my heart without expectations. I will continue being there, but you're not going to take advantage of me or use this show to get your way. I understand that playing the battered victim role earns you sympathy on this platform, but you will respect me as a father. I love all my kids and have given them the world, including you. It's about them now. #respect. Yikes. I mean, I don't know. I'm wishing Drew all the best. Hopefully she gets that divorce out the way and, you know, doesn't prolong it like Kenya and Mark, because, whew, but, you know, that was it for the first part of the reunion. Let me know what you all thought about this whole entire reunion so far, and whose look do you think that I'm doing next week? Let me know your guesses down in the comments. Bye, everybody. Mwah.